The Serving with Gladness prison ministry arrives at Draper Correctional Center in Elmore County. It's stop number 6 for the group, with 5 more planned for today. By Tuesday, Paulette Parker will have visited all of the state's prisons and hand-delivered Christmas gifts to about 6,000 inmates.
It's just something I really look forward to, and when this trip is over, I'll be working when I get home, thinking about next Christmas.
The ministry hands out almost $10,000 worth of fruit, candy, cards, and gift packets. So far, Miss Parker has raised only a quarter of that, but she tries not to worry about the money, believing it will come. Last year's bills weren't paid off until September.
The Bible says if we give, it'll be given unto us, and I feel like God's going to meet the need, provide for this project.
Ms. Parker takes her ministry into the state prisons all year long. Christmas is special to her because instead of reaching a handful of men at worship services, she can meet every inmate. Before leaving, Ms. Parker will share her thoughts about Christmas with the prisoners.
I wish that on this Christmas day, the bars and stone would vanish, that you would find yourself within a peaceful, restful haven. I wish that on this Christmas day, I could take you by the hand and wish you Merry Christmas with love. Merry Christmas.
Susan Silvernail, WSFA TV News.
Boston College took charge in the early going, taking the opening kickoff and driving 79 yards for a score. Quarterback Doug Flutie, scrambling out of the pocket, goes in from the 5. BC led it 7-0. Auburn came right back, but a 74-yard drive stalls at the 3 when Randy Campbell stopped on 3rd and goal. The Tigers settled for a field goal. An interception then put the Tigers in position for another score, but the Eagles' defense rose to the occasion, stopping Campbell here on 4th and goal. BC couldn't move, then a short punt set the Tigers up again. Bo Jackson on the up and over capped a 21-yard drive. Auburn had the lead for good at 10-7. Campbell had a great night, 10 of 16 passing, 177 yards, and the game's MVP. This 34-yard completion to Clayton Buford set up a short Willie Howell TD run to make it 17-7. After a BC field goal, Campbell lofts one here to Bo Jackson, who makes a great catch. He'll score from the 7. Auburn led it 23-10 at halftime. Al Del Greco booted another third-quarter field goal, and Greg Pratt scored on this 15-yard scamper late in the quarter, and Auburn was in command 33-10 after 3. But Flutie and the Eagles wouldn't give up. The nifty quarterback passed for close to 300 yards. He gets 3 and a TD here to Scott Nizelek. With a 2-point conversion, it was 33-18 early in the 4th. The Eagles then scored again on the last play of the game. Flutie's second TD pass, this one to Gerard Finland. A 2-point conversion made the final Auburn 33, Boston College 18. The Tangerine Bowl win capped an outstanding season for the Tigers. They finish at 9-3.
That was quite an offensive show last night. Did you expect Randy Campbell to have the night he had?
We really did. He had enough time to work on a few things that felt like it'd be good throwing against him, and Randy's gotten better throwing the ball, and they had a lot of confidence, and we felt like that's the way it'd be. Of course, Randy went out there and executed it. It didn't really matter what we thought, but we felt like we had a chance to do that.
So it was a plan. You felt like you could throw on them.
Right. Particularly play-action passes and throwing underneath their coverage.
day the vets waited for. Marching up the steps of the Capitol while a small crowd of guests stood by to watch their ceremony.
I had the distinct pleasure of marching out of Eufaula yesterday morning with this group. We spent a lot of time together on the road yesterday and today. We spent last evening together. We relived some good times and we relived some bad times. And we're very proud to be here today.
The vets marched and rode to Montgomery to draw attention to and get support for a planned Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Eufaula. But that was only part of their cause.
We came here to show that we are dedicated to the state and to this nation, just as we were dedicated to this state and nation years ago.
There was a plaque presented to a representative of the governor's office commemorating the commitment that brought the vets to the Capitol, and then it was over, and there were the goodbyes and the photographs.
1, 2, 3, say cheese.
And finally, nothing but the memories. Tom Foreman, WSFA TV News.
State troopers predict 10 people will lose their lives on Alabama highways during the Christmas holiday and 8 during the New Year holiday. Troopers say deaths due to driving under the influence is a big contributor to the rate.
Most everybody feels that when they're drinking they can even drive better, which of course is totally untrue. There is an increase during this period of time that we don't like to see.
What about deaths due to DUI?
Well, of course, during the holiday periods, there is usually an increase in the number of traffic fatalities.
Lieutenant Smith says officers are looking for drunk drivers, especially during these holiday periods, and he says it's easy to spot them.
Either he's driving extremely fast, cutting in and out of traffic, running off the road, or if he's a cautious drunk, he is driving very, very slow. And if you see a car out there at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, it's driving 10 or 15 miles an hour and just is perfectly in his lane, then this is a good indication there's a problem there.
If you're going to be out at parties, drinking, Lieutenant Smith says do yourself and others a favor and don't get behind the wheel. Gina Gregory, WSFA TV News.
Another 22.
Yeah. Where's that one at?
Here's a 22. You might as well take it too.
Yeah, okay.
Gun port right there.
The jump in unemployment is not welcome news for the state's jobless workers, and especially not at this time of year. Dora and Calvin Baxter know all about that. The Montgomery couple and their 3 children are cutting back this Christmas. Dora Baxter was laid off from her job at a food distribution company almost a year ago. Calvin Baxter was laid off from the same company 6 months ago. And though he's working as a machine operator at another plant now, the $200 he makes every week is just enough to get by.
They're going to give all the employees a turkey. Yeah. You know, that's going to help us out some. At least we'll have some meat for the holidays.
Yeah.
I don't know how big it's going to be.
In the past year, the Baxters have given up some insurance, been late on house payments, and lost 2 cars. They're telling their 3 boys, aged 10, 14, and 18, not to expect much Christmas morning.
I love working. I really love working, like I told you before. I raised up on the farm, and I love to work because I had it to do then, and now I know how to do it.
I'm thinking about our children and how very much we want them to have a good Christmas. And it's really not that affordable for them, but at least we'll be able to provide something for them, but not as much as they would want and not as much as we would want them to have.
I'm not myself when I'm not working.
I believe succeeding comes in when you're able to save some money out of your week's work or month's work or whatever, but still, just to be together in a family situation is still good. Probably the best thing to come out of Christmas for us.
So this Christmas, the Baxters will be looking for the new year and hoping it will bring better times. Tom Foreman, WSFA TV News.
Ray Perkins met for the first time with the state's media as Alabama's new football coach. And he answered the question most wanted to know, why is he coming back?
It's simply something that I want to do. If it was not my alma mater, I question whether I would leave because the New York Giants, in the next several years anyway, will be the best job in the National Football League, the most lucrative, the most, in every respect, the top job in the country. I feel like for myself that the University of Alabama is the top job for me, the top job for Ray Perkins.
Perkins said his first priority would be getting his coaching staff settled. After meeting with Bryant this morning, he was to meet with the current coaching staff later in the day. He would not elaborate on specific changes, but he did say one decision had definitely been made.
One coach that's on the present staff that I'm very, very pleased that will be staying with me is Ken Donahue. He'll be staying in the same capacity as defensive coordinator and assistant head coach. I think Ken, over the years and still, is one of the finest coaches in America.
Perkins is the first to admit he has a tough act to follow at Alabama.
Well,
but one thing very evident about the man, he isn't afraid of the challenge.
The thing that I think we will achieve here, following the greatest coach that there's ever been in football, period, is to have success following that man. So that is the one thing that I can live. That is the one thing that I can look forward to, and that is the great challenge that lies before us.
We go out on the coast and play Southern California on their home floor, and they're a good basketball team. I don't really try to compare scores, but they played Iowa a terrific game. I think Iowa's got a great team, and they played them a 10-point, 11-point game at Iowa. If we're fortunate enough to get by that, then we'll play the winner of Georgetown, Wisconsin. Then it's back for, I think, the toughest week of basketball that any conference team has. And as I've stated several times, I really don't like the positioning or the way the conference schedule starts. We have to go to Florida on Monday, Auburn on Wednesday, and then we have Kentucky back here on Saturday. So it's going to be a very tough 5 or 6 games for us.
Yes, I'll share $1 is something new on this month's utility bills. If you check yes, you'll be donating one tax-deductible dollar each month as a service to help Alabamians with relief on energy. The donation can be canceled at any time. Project Share was spearheaded by Alabama Power Company. All proceeds go directly to help the elderly, disabled, and those on low fixed incomes pay their utility bills. The Red Cross is taking applications next month to determine who qualifies for assistance. Red Cross officials say there is a big need for the project.
With today's economy, we all know it's at this time very serious, and we hope to be able to help a number of people.
Red Cross officials aren't sure how many people can be helped through Project Share, but they say they can't help anyone unless customers agree to share $1 with the needy. Kim Davis, WSFA TV News.
ordinance. And this has been worked out in conjunction with the district representative of the district attorney's office, Richard Kerr. And we have another attorney working.
Did you have something you want to bring to the commission? Yeah. All right, thank you. Anybody else have anything to bring? Well, next thing is bank and savings and loan here in the city. It's eligible. Each of us can read it over and study.
And the sheriff.
And the sheriff. And we got a motion and a second to extend it as is to be effective February the 1st. All right. Any other discussion or questions?
The household must fall into one of the 4 categories: 62 years of age or older on a fixed income, the disabled or handicapped to the point of not being able to maintain sufficient income, have temporary interruption of income due to injury or illness, and those who have a medically verifiable condition that lack of heat would aggravate.
We just hope that everything works out well and the people donate that money on their electric bill so that we can help out as many as possible.
Businesses opened as usual today in downtown Sylacauga. But not on that morning a year ago. Businesses came to a fiery halt on the corner of Norton and First Streets. The gas pipeline broke, causing an explosion that leveled 4 businesses on the corner and damaged 45 others in the area. 3 people miraculously escaped injury. But had the explosion occurred an hour later, the townspeople would have been cleaning up more than debris.
It was on a Monday morning, and if it had been 1 hour later, there's no telling how many women would have been in that laundromat. It would have been full, always was on Monday. It would have killed at least 30 people.
The lot on Norton and First Streets is now vacant and for sale. That's about all that's left except for pieces of concrete, 2 parked cars, and of course the memories. John Mizell worked the afternoon shift that day at the gasoline station across the street. Mr. Mizell says he's glad he wasn't outside pumping gasoline that morning.
If you had, you or any other attendant, he said you would have been killed.
All the windows at other stores in the area have long been replaced. Charles Garris had to replace his pawn and specialty shops that were destroyed in the explosion.
The building just blew up. Of course, we thought that was a joke. Really, we didn't believe it till we got downtown to look to see what's going on.
And it wasn't a joke.
It was not a joke. It was a reality.
At least 9 lawsuits have been filed against the city's utility board, claiming it negligently constructed, designed, and operated its gas pipeline so as to cause the fiery explosion. And 1 year later, none of the lawsuits have been settled. Kim Davis, WSFA TV News in Sylacauga. The lot on Norton and First Streets is now vacant and for sale. It's been that way since the fiery explosion that leveled the 4 businesses, a laundromat, a pawn shop, a specialty shop, and an insurance company. Charles Garris was operating the pawn and specialty shops. He's back in business today. He moved his shop a block away from the explosion site.
But we're back in business now and doing real good. Been back a few months. Business is great right here at Christmas time, and all the people that traded with us before seems to find us real easy, even though we had to move a block or 2 away.
About 45 other stores sustained damage from the explosion. Windows have long been replaced, and there are few other reminders of the day that section of downtown Sylacauga went up in flames. The only other visible signs left are the memories.
Well, I'm just glad it didn't happen again today. That's all I can say.
At least 9 lawsuits have been filed against the city's utility board, claiming it negligently constructed, designed, and operated its gas pipeline so as to cause the fiery explosion. And 1 year later, none of the lawsuits have been settled. Kim Davis, WSFA TV News in Sylacauga.
The help and upon entering the premises, which was fully charged with smoke, we found the cabinets of
concerns that were articulated. You do every day in the fire department.
Outstanding day-to-day job performance since assuming command of the Community Relations Bureau in May of '82. And in particular,
Tell you how much we appreciate the good job you do day after day after day, along with all the other members of Montgomery Police Department. You especially with me, and you know why. Thank you, sir.
The average price for 20 basic food items this month is $27.16, down 7 cents from November's market basket. Food prices have been experiencing a downward trend since July. This month, food prices are down 0.2%. The state average is down 7 cents. The cheapest groceries can be found in Northeast Alabama, where the 20 items cost $26.57. Central Alabama prices are the next lowest at $26.87. South Alabama is at $27.26. And the most expensive are in Northwest Alabama, $28.40. Shoppers this holiday season can find bargains at the meat counter. Beef is down 3.7% and pork is down 2%. But poultry is up 3.1% and produce is up 12%, as well as dairy products up less than 1%. The Farm Bureau says overall, prices are up just 1.16% from last year. Inflation at the consumer level continues at the slowest pace since 1976. Nationwide, consumer prices rose only 0.1% in November. The cost of buying a house is up 0.2%. Medical care is up a full percentage point due to higher doctor and hospital fees, and gasoline prices are up 0.3%, despite a continuing oil glut. Gina Gregory, WSFA TV News.
The crowd that gathered in a local high school gymnasium was not there to decide how money will be raised to keep the financially troubled school system operating. They were only there to consider what options they want to choose from when it does come time to decide on a solution. One of the first items on the agenda, though, was an explanation of how the Macon County schools got in trouble in the first place.
The problem that we have in operating the schools are fivefold or sixfold. The first problem is we did not have enough money to start. We did not have enough money to start with. That just was not enough money.
Outstanding bills, 10% proration of state money, and a cut in federal funds, along with cash flow difficulties, have all added to the overall problem. And deciding on a solution to that problem may not be easy for county residents. They have decided that they want the money to come either from a dog racing track in the county or by imposing a 10 mil increase in property taxes. A referendum on which one of the two will be used will come later. School officials say they need $67,000 additional a month to keep the school operating. Tom Foreman, WSFA TV News in Tuskegee.
He's gonna come between us?
Yeah.
Go right?
Hey, no, now let me tell you something. The tail back, we're gonna have the Z come back.
Riverside, put the ball on the 10.
I just kind of like to clear some things up in some people's mind as far as my passing ability. I think that I can pass it just about anybody around. I just hadn't had the opportunity to show it with the type of offense we ran in Southern Mississippi.
Yeah, you're a passing, running quarterback. You throw on the run a lot, and I suppose they haven't seen you throw from the drop back and that sort of thing. Huh?
Right. We threw the ball on the run quite a bit down at USM, but we also threw the ball from drop back position, but not too often. It was every now and then. But now I think I had the opportunity to show that I can throw the ball from the drop back position.
You want to be a pro quarterback rather than a wide receiver or something
right,
like that.
Definitely.
Secretary of State Don Siegelman says the 1982 election was not error-free. In fact, he says the problems which arose in the fall election are nothing new in the state. For example, Republican Congressman Bill Dickinson asked for a Justice Department investigation of the voting process in the 2nd Congressional District. Congressman Dickinson narrowly defeated Democratic challenger Billy Joe Camp, who did not object to the investigation. He wanted a full-scale report. Other election problems Mr. Siegelman mentioned include accusations of fraudulent absentee voting, what he called ghost or graveyard voting of dead Alabama voters, and machine breakdowns. One of the most serious problems Mr. Siegelman is pushing to clean up is abuse of the Corrupt Practices Act, especially in the creation of bogus campaign committees.
Those phony committees have at times tried to extort money from candidates in exchange for their endorsement. It's not uncommon for candidates to receive phone calls from these bogus committees demanding that they pay a certain amount of money in order to help defray the cost of the printing of the bogus endorsement.
Another major problem on Mr. Siegelman's agenda is to clean up Alabama's voter registration list. The committee meets next month to begin work on election law reform, which the Secretary of State has been working on for a long time. This year, he says he expects the reform legislation to be adopted. Kim Davis, WSFA TV News at the Capitol. Secretary of State Don Siegelman says problems at the poll are still widespread at election time, including this past election. Mr. Siegelman says there were reports of voting machine breakdowns in Chilton County, which he says may have cost the winner in the probate judge's race the right to hold office. Also, he says there have been accusations of fraudulent absentee voting, as well as rumors of what Mr. Siegelman called ghost or graveyard voting of dead Alabama voters. In the November general election, Republican Congressman Bill Dickinson asked for an investigation of the voting process in the 2nd Congressional District. Congressman Dickinson edged Democratic opponent Billy Joe Kemp to win his 10th term in office. The Secretary of State is pushing to clean up the state's voter registration list and abuses in the Corrupt Practices Act, especially in the creation of phony campaign committees.
But there are always, have always been, committees that spring up to misrepresent the position of interest groups, such as lawyers for so-and-so, or the Jefferson County school teachers for so-and-so, which gives a misleading opinion to the public as to whether or not these people were actually endorsed by the teachers.
Mr. Siegelman says he expects the election reform legislation to be passed when the regular session of the legislature meets next April. Kim Davis, WSFA TV News at the Capitol.
Clerks and Registers Association, as well as Lois Jenkins, a one-term member of the Board of Registers. Because of my experience, I think, and the fact that it is true that I have been 75 was the sponsor of several pieces of election reform legislation. Neighbors, Kentucky and South Carolina, have developed an old system, a manual system. They have to have the help of true that I have been seeking, for instance, a revision of the Corrupt Practices Act since 1975 when I was Executive Director and General Counsel of the State Democratic Party. We formed a Blue Ribbon Commission, and I worked as the coordinator of that commission.
Yeah, that's Marsh to clean it.
Okay.
So you got to eat. You want me?
Bright as the stars, and we hope that you like what we bring. Silver bells, it's Christmas.
Most of Alabama's boards and commissions are regulated by state agencies or have a public check and balance mechanism. But not all of the public's business is monitored. State Ethics Commission Director Melvin Cooper says more than 400 boards and commissions are free to do just about anything with public funds and services.
It does appear that there are certain local boards that have no control points. In other words, the board members themselves are answerable really to no one. Now, technically and legally they're supposed to respond to their constituency, but in the case of a public hospital board, I think we could name on one finger the number of people who bother to go to them. So the only control mechanism is maybe an occasional audit by the examiner of public accounts, and that, due to their own financial constrictions, is not very often. We've had more than our share recently of complaints regarding utility boards, public housing boards, and public hospital boards.
Bills to bring the unregulated boards back under the scrutiny of the Ethics Commission have been proposed to each legislative session since 1976, and each time they failed. The 1983 edition of the state legislature will have another chance to pass the laws. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News reporting.
You know, it's bad to say.
The money and these toys donated by area residents will be given to families who otherwise wouldn't have a Merry Christmas. This is the Brubaker Christmas tree, which until this year never had gifts under it. Now it's filled with all kinds of toys to make Christmas a little brighter for area children. The Youth Aid Fund provides not only gifts for the children, but turkey dinners for their families and food baskets for the elderly who have no family. This year, the Youth Aid Division hopes to provide the food and gifts to more than 1,500 people. The money left over in the fund will be used during the rest of the year for the needy to help pay utility bills or buy food and clothes. Friday morning, officers with the Youth Aid Division will deliver the Christmas toys and food to area families. Gina Gregory, WSFA TV News.
This game. They provide the practice areas, which is the next man I'm going to ask to make a few comments.
At this time to say welcome officially to all our players and to you. So stay loose. Oh, so don't get yeah.
Thank you, Fats, President. Here's at Clemson University.
You can look, there's two of Bear's boys down there now. I don't know why I got them to come down here. All they do is socialize. They don't coach much. They tell me that Cheryl down there, old Moneybags, they say he's already had a trip to California and back this morning. That boy gets around. He's a lot faster than his quarterbacks, I think.
Council people in politics have to do more than politics. They got to be concerned about people. And I hope that as a council member, as a council person, I've tried to at least be human and consider those things that people are concerned about. And I believe these children like it, and we enjoy it every year. And I just look forward to next year.
Give me a ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho!
1982 has been a year of great challenge for Auburn University, but we have met our challenges head on. Much of our energy has been devoted to one of the largest fundraising efforts in the history of higher education in the Southeast. The Auburn Generations Fund will provide a foundation for future generations of Auburn faculty, students, and alumni. With a goal of almost $62 million, I'm happy to report to you that we are over halfway there and ahead of schedule. These funds will be used for faculty salary endowment, student scholarships, the library, research and equipment, and much-needed facility construction. The year 1982 will also be remembered as the year of the Auburn Connection. On June 27, 1982, the launch of the fourth flight of NASA's Space Shuttle Columbia focused national attention on the contributions of one university to modern technology. Flown by Auburn alumni astronauts T.K. Mattingly and Hank Hartsfield, this near-perfect flight emphasized a unique and indispensable connection that higher education and Auburn University play in our space program. And once again, Auburn was named by Changing Times as one of the best 50 buys in higher education in this nation. This means high academic standards at an affordable price.
This holiday season, it seems that for every department store Santa Claus, there is a store salesperson eager to answer your questions about home computers. With a home computer, your checking account, tax deductions, insurance, and the like can be kept at an arm's length, all in about the size of a standard typewriter. This type of convenience has made the home computer very popular and profitable for retailers. Dr. Morris Mayer, a professor of marketing and management at the University of Alabama, explains why retailers push the computer so heavily during the Christmas season.
It's available. Now you don't find the computer only in a highly specialized environment, but you find the computer in all kinds of stores. Department stores have got the computer, specialty stores have got the computer. You find them throughout our area in almost every kind of store that the customers shop in. So the availability is really based on the fact that the retailers predicted that the market was there, the software was ready, the price is right, and we've got an educated population that's accepting it.
According to Mrs. Milla Boshung, an instructor of consumer sciences, the home computer that you use this year to balance your checking account may be used next year to operate your kitchen.
I think that management of the home will be important, too, in the purchase of home computers. Time-use studies have indicated that families are spending more time in the management of resources. The computer is an excellent tool to use in budgeting for the family, a way to see where your resources are going, for paying your bills, for keeping important records. This is going to be an excellent tool in this day when resources are scarce.
The experts seem to agree, but Christmas 1982 will be remembered as the beginning of the boom in home computers. Randy Mize in Tuscaloosa at the University of Alabama.
Come 1983, when the Alabama legislature reorganizes, Rick Sellers plans to speak up for small businesses. Sellers says he needs to convince lawmakers that Alabama's economic well-being depends on its smaller employers, and that state government isn't doing what it should to help them.
In the past, almost nothing has been done to help Alabama's small businesses.
According to the small business advocate, state government devotes all its resources to large manufacturing firms. He finds the Alabama Development Office particularly guilty on this score.
I have absolutely nothing against bringing large manufacturing firms, domestic or foreign, to the state. However, I don't think every resource of state government should pursue those aims when, in fact, 99% of all businesses in Alabama are small business.
The chairman of Alabama's SBA Advisory Committee says most of the country's new jobs are created by small, not big business, so he believes any solution to Alabama's unemployment problem must focus on small business. And instead of turning a deaf ear, Sellers wants the legislature to establish a full standing small business committee. Susan Silvernail, WSFA TV News.
Those programs that will help Alabama small.
Hey.
You come here, tail back, watch
invites too many calls. I don't know how I could fit it in the story, really. I don't know how I could fit it in the story. No, I don't want it. That invites too many calls at once.
The residents of the home invited about 25 children from the Happy Time Kittyland Daycare Center next door for a Christmas party. The children were asked to sing for their supper, or snacks as the case may be. The children were treated to cookies and punch as the home's director, Jack Bryan, read them the night before Christmas. Then a present chain was formed as the residents handled each gift before the children received them. As they smiled from ear to ear, the children shared their joy with the residents who gave them their presents. Ms. Bryan says the idea to adopt the children from the daycare center began as a project to get the nursing home residents more involved in the community. She says it's such a success that these parties are also held at Halloween and Easter. Dave Rickey, WSFA TV News.
There has been a rumor circulating around Montgomery that about 264 families would not be celebrating Christmas this year. The Montgomery Police Department's Youth Aid Division heard the rumor, contacted Santa, got in touch with his helpers. They immediately went to work. The result, hundreds of toys, food baskets, including Christmas dinners, and $21,000 in donations. Two of Santa's helpers donated $5,000 each. Well, today, the merry old man and his crew delivered the gifts to the families. It did not matter today if the kids have been naughty or nice, just in need. And if the weather is pleasant Christmas Day, 3 of Baltimore's children will be riding used bicycles, which will be brand new to them.
How about that?
Although St. Nick couldn't tarry, he had many more gifts to deliver. His next stop is at Diane Ragdale's house. And within a matter of minutes, Santa came and went, leaving only toys, food, smiles, and thank yous behind. Back at Santa's headquarters, more gifts were being loaded on the delivery van. One of Santa's helpers, Frank Whitfield, who helped deliver the first round of goodies, says he won't forget what he just witnessed.
It's heartwarming to help the kids and know that their Christmas is going to be happy.
Does this Christmas mean a little bit more to you after watching those expressions on those kids' faces?
Yes, it means everything in the world to me, because the kids, that's what it's for, and I love it. And to see those kids smiling and waving at Santa Claus and getting on their bicycles and taking the toys out of the boxes that we carried in, it was terrific. I loved it.
And even the jolly old man himself, who still has a big night ahead, was speechless.
So when you get ready to go back to the North Pole, what will be on your mind? Will you remember those expressions today?
Yes, ma'am, I really will. When I'm flying back, I can remember all the little happy faces I've seen today.
No Christmas for some Montgomery families? Not if the police department and Santa can help it.
Merry Christmas, Santa.
Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to all of you, and ho, ho, ho.
Kim Davis, WSFA TV News.
If you needed to get anywhere in Montgomery in a hurry, this was the wrong day. Traffic tie-ups and big crowds can spell aggravation for the last-minute shopper, but it sure can spell delight for a businessman.
That's what I'm going to go for right now. $1, these ones that are remaining right out the front of the center aisle. $1, folks.
Store manager for Kmart, Ed Mead, says the only way Christmas Eve could have been better were if Kmart had a bigger parking lot. The lot was full today as it was this time last year. Mead says last-minute Christmas sales have been running about even with 1981's. But over at Service Merchandise, store manager Richard White says he's at a loss to explain why business is 20 to 30% better than last year's. But why question the gods when you're too busy trying to keep E.T. dolls on the shelf? White says the last-minute shopper is a breed unto himself. He says they're not your usual browser. They seem to race through the store at 50 miles per hour with panicky looks on their faces, and they're definitely ready to buy. Susan Silvernail, WSFA TV News.
The manufacturers of kerosene heaters emphasize their products' efficiency and economy, the high quality of their engineering, and many built-in safety features. What they do not emphasize is that it is illegal to sell kerosene heaters to heat homes or apartments in California, Massachusetts, Oregon, and a number of local jurisdictions. See if you can read the warning at the end of this television commercial. It's there, the little lettering at the bottom of the screen.
I have seen advertisements in this city and on television where it shows a kerosene heater lit and working inside of a dwelling environment with a family. It leads one to believe, certainly, that, in fact, you can use it in your home, and that is misleading.
The manufacturers complain that they're getting a bad rap on safety. They say there is no good reason that a modern kerosene heater shouldn't be used to heat a home in any state. When used according to directions, they say, these heaters are among the safest appliances anyone can buy. When used according to directions. According to fire marshals, that's the major problem. There are just too many things a person can do wrong, dangerously wrong.
The consumer has all of the responsibilities to make this machine or the heater work as it was designed to. That be, use the proper fuel it properly, put it into a location where it is safe, will not catch something on fire, to keep small children away from it. It does have very hot surfaces. The not so obvious are the toxic gases of combustion that the kerosene burned puts into the air. Anytime you burn anything, you get products of combustion, toxic fuels toxic gases. These are put into the environment, and generally they're put into the environment in a very closed, tight room. They do not have the proper ventilation that the manufacturer says you should have, and I'm not sure what the manufacturer means by proper ventilation. I certainly don't want to heat a room and then open a window.
Before you buy a kerosene heater for your home, check your local safety codes. And most important, follow directions exactly. You're gambling with your life if you don't.
You know, without this, where are we going to go? You know, so we're all very, very happy, and it's going to make everybody a nice Christmas.
It's a blessing. It really is. And everybody's so excited. We were just thrilled today. We were really happy. And I think everybody's going to be happy for us.
The 70-year-old plant makes chocolate chip cookies, saltines, and Ritz crackers. It's a profitable operation, but Nabisco still wanted to phase it out early next year because of overproduction in the industry. This group, Save Nabisco Action Coalition, fought hard to save the plant. SNAC held a big rally last Thursday. The group feels its message got through to Nabisco.
I think at first they thought we were just a tiny, insignificant little group, and at the rally it showed. I mean, there were church organizations and labor presidents from all over the community, and so many just ordinary people that were behind us.
Saving jobs is the best part, but if the plant had closed, the saltine cracker might never have tasted the same.
The company has told us many times that they've been unable to duplicate the saltine cracker that is made in our Pittsburgh bakery here.
Employees say Nabisco is a company that doesn't go back on its word, so they feel the company's decision to keep the plant open now will be a permanent one.
When I got here, it was coming through the roof on the north side of the building, approximately halfway of the building. We put lines on it at that point. It traveled through a common attic in the building, mostly to the west end of the building. We opened up on either side and put lines in to head it off at that point, contained it in that manner, and then worked back to the fire.
Everybody loves the clown, so why don't you? Everybody laughs at the things that I say and do. They all laugh when they see me coming. You don't laugh, you just come running. Everybody loves the clown, so why can't you? A clown has feelings too. I joke around at a party when you are there, but you don't laugh, you don't look, you just don't care. If you wonder why this clown is crying, look a little closer inside, I'm dying. It's not easy to be in love, you see, when you're a clown like me. I don't know how to say that I love you, 'cause you will smile and say, tell a joke or two. Yes, I'm a clown, but I don't wanna be. Why can't you see the other side of me? Guess I'll be the guy who plays the part of a clown with a broken heart.
People who are without family, without friends, without good resources see around them the holiday season, especially the phony hype from television, the mass media of all sorts telling them that they're supposed to be having a great and wonderful time and they're to be with their families and that this is the season to be jolly and what have you. And this contrasts greatly with their own lives. It contrasts with their loneliness. It sort of highlights it for them, and it sort of gives them a much more intense feeling of apartness and loneliness than they would normally be getting.